Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Well, it's afternoon here. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. So, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on the part of the world that you are in. I'm super excited to have you here. My name is Dr. Glory Edozian, and I am a LinkedIn visibility and thought leadership branding expert. And I'm excited today because I'm going to be sharing with you, yes, I'm going to be sharing with you visibility mistakes that female thought leaders and executives should be avoiding in 2022, right? So welcome. That's what we're going to be discussing today. Typically on this is my show, and it's called the Visibility Launch Hour Show. So we're here for about 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes even up to an hour. And we're discussing all things visibility. So if you're joining in today, please, what I want you to do is just go to the comments, tell me your name, tell me where you're joining in from, just give us an idea. Are you in Lagos? Are you in Nigeria? Are you outside Nigeria? Are you in Europe? Are you in the Caribbean? Wherever you are, please just introduce yourself in the comment section. Fantastic. Typically on this show, on the LinkedIn, on the Visibility Launch Hour show, I have different guests, but today, for the first time, it's just me. It's just me. I'm here alone, and I thought it would be great to do this at least once a month, so that I can answer your questions. So have a once a week, just do like a live Q&A, and I'll talk about a topic that maybe people have been asking me about throughout the month. So that's the plan for today. So I'm just going to go through really quickly 5 visibility tips, or 5 visibility mistakes that female leaders should avoid in 2022. The second thing that we'll then do a live Q&A. So if you're joining in, please let me know. Tell me your name, tell me where you're joining in from, and I will make sure I introduce you and welcome you to the show. Okay, so let's get going. So today, like I've mentioned, hi Moturayo, how are you? From Abuja. Thanks for joining in, Moturayo. Please, Moturayo, if you have any questions for me today on visibility, on using LinkedIn, please just let me know. On thought leadership, please just type it in the chat. Okay, so today we're talking about visibility mistakes female leaders should avoid. And I'm going to get started. But before we start, I want to provide some context, right? So I want to talk about what visibility is and why it's important before we go to mistakes. So visibility for me is the act of letting people know, right, what you can do, so your capabilities and your impact as a professional, right? So it is the art or act, so ART or ACT, of letting the right people know your capabilities and your impact as a professional, right? So if we look at that definition, we'll see the word letting there, right? What that means is that visibility is a verb. It's the act of doing something. Then we see the right people. So visibility is not about fame. It's not about going viral. It's not about having 1,000 likes, 700 followers, 1 million followers. That's not visibility, right? It's the art of letting the right people know. So, for example, you might have 5,000 followers, but those are the right people that need to know about your brand, right? So it's not about the amount of followers that you have. Okay, so letting the right people know what you are capable of and your impact as a professional. Hello, Faith. How are you? Faith is joining from Ogun State. Nice to see you, Faith. Faith, if you have any questions on visibility or about LinkedIn, please just put it in the comments. Okay, so we've talked about what visibility is. Now, why is visibility important? Visibility is important because the world has changed. Before in my parents' day, it was about working for a company for 30 years and just moving up the ranks. And then at the age of 60, you get a gold watch and a good pension and you retire and all of that. The world has really changed, right? It's no more about who came first or whatever the case is. It's really about people are looking for solutions, right? And now it's a global village. You can be working in Nigeria and be heading a team in London. But how will the people in London and globally know about the great work that you can do if you don't tell them, right? So visibility is a way of you basically showcasing what you do to a global audience, to the audience that needs that information. So it's important because if you're looking to scale in your career, the right people will need to know know about you and the work that you do. There are several opportunities that you are right for. But the people that have access to those opportunities don't know about the work that you do. So they can't let you know. They can't invite you for an interview. They can't say, oh, we think you might be great for this, unless you tell them. I can't count how many times I've had clients who maybe they give a speaking engagement somewhere and somebody said, oh, I have this thing. I've been looking for someone that can solve this. I think you'll be great, right? But prior to that speaking engagement, prior to being visible, they didn't know that those people existed, right? So the world has really changed, and it's really about those who can talk about the work that they do, who can communicate it in a great way, right? That are getting all the opportunities. So if you notice, you kind of see the same people speaking at events, the same people writing articles, the same people. That's because other people that are doing the work as well, I'm not saying those people are not doing the work, but other people that are doing the work as well have not taken the time to position themselves as thought leaders, as experts in that field. So that's why visibility is important. It can open doors for you. It can help you get a transition in your career. It can help you get high level jobs, high level global jobs, consultancy roles, paid speaking opportunities, premium media features, NED, invitations to apply for NED roles and the like, right? So visibility is great. Okay, so that's what visibility is about and what it can do for your career. Now we're going to talk about mistakes to avoid. The first mistake that female leaders particularly need to avoid is not building brand you. What does that mean? Not building the brand that is you. And I tell everybody, you see how you have MTN, you have Glow, you have GTB, all those established brands. You are a brand. It's so important that career women and female leaders realize this. You are a brand, right? And so if you're a brand, you have to be active in the communication of that brand. Why? Because people are, whether you like it or not, people are forming opinions about you. So as soon as I turned on this camera, as soon as I came on live, even if you had never met me before, you didn't know who I was, just looking at me, you formed an opinion. Your brain told you something that, oh, this girl is like this, or she's like this, or she's like this. You made an assumption with or without me saying a word, right? So, and as you're hearing me speak, you're making assumptions about my competency, about my expertise, about my knowledge, even about my personality, right? You're making assumptions about that. So, what does that mean? Your building a personal brand is important because it is about you being active in the interpretation of who you are, right? So what I always tell people is a personal brand. And yesterday I was on in Kem's LinkedIn Live, and I was saying that a personal brand, right, is you being intentional about the way you communicate your value to the right people, right? So because many times you are doing work, you're doing all of that, but nobody knows about it, right? And then when decisions are being made about you, you are usually not in the room to explain. So somebody will say, oh, Glory is great at this, but, oh, Glory, this opportunity is there. Glory might be good at it, but you're not there to explain that, oh, no, actually, I can do it. So that's why it's about you being intentional about the way you communicate. And communication is important. Your expertise, knowledge, and capabilities to the right people. Right? So that's the first mistake people make, not building brand you, right? And the reason why we don't build, well, I'm looking this way because my notes are here. The reason why we don't build brand you is society has told us many things, right? So first of all, so if you're just joining, I'm just going to take a break and say, if you're just joining, please let me know where you're joining in from, your name, what state you're in, what country you're in. Please just let me know in the chat. And if you have any questions, please make sure you put it in the chat. So first things first, the first mistake is not building brand you, right? Why? Why is it that female leaders typically don't focus on building brand you? One, the world has told us that when you talk about yourself, it's like you're boasting, talking about your accomplishments. You're meant to be humble. Let other people blow your trumpet. I can't count how many times I heard this growing up, right? World has also told us that you're being prideful when you talk about yourself. You should wait for others to talk about you, or you should wait. Or sometimes we think, oh, so and so in my industry has not built a brand yet. So and so has not started publishing articles on LinkedIn. Who am I to start doing that, right? But it's about you. If GTB said, oh, we won't release an advert until Fidelity Bank does that. Like, does it make sense? It doesn't, right? So you are a brand. You are an accomplished leader. You should be showcasing your expertise. You should take time out to build your brand, right? Another thing that people say, and another issue, the reason people say about not building their brand is that, look, I've come this far without building a brand. And what I always say to people that say that is, you may have come this far without building a brand, but imagine if you had built a brand, how far you would have gone. So where you are now is actually you being not stretching yourself far enough. Imagine if you were actually visible. Imagine if you were actually putting out there your results and your accomplishments and the great work that you do. Imagine just how far you would have gone, right? So, oh, hi, Jennifer. Jennifer is joining from Lagos. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome. If you have any questions, hi, Bukola from Lagos. Oh, I see my Lagosians joining fast and fierce. Welcome. Thanks for joining in, right? So, and this is very important. So I'll tell you a story about not building brand. Why it's important to start building brand you, right? I remember I had a client. Her name, she worked in a top oil and gas multinational, and she took voluntary redundancy after a few years. Oh, hi, Timidu, joining from Lagos. Nice to have you. So she joined. She took voluntary redundancy. She had been working for about 25 years from when she finished her NYC in this particular organization. She had grown through the ranks and was kind of like a manager and all of that. And then she took voluntary redundancy and left, and went home to rest for a while and all of that. Hi, Anjanette. Oh, good to see you, Anjanette from New York. Hi, AJ. Good to see you. Good luck from Ocean State. Great to have you. So this my client took voluntary redundancy, and I was at home for a while. And then after 2 years, she's like, okay, I think I'm ready, to go back into the workforce. And so she goes back she's looking for work. She can't find. Now, this is somebody that is an expert, right? A leader, right? In a top multinational. But it's difficult for her to to get a job. Why? And she has 25 years of experience. And so I was saying to her, she was like, she couldn't understand why. I was like, well, what about your network? The people that know you in the company you're working with. She's like, oh, she's lost touch with them and all of that. I'm like, so you are struggling with everyone else that doesn't have the expertise, that doesn't have the expertise, doesn't have the connections that you had. But what had happened to her was that when she was working in that company, she had been working there for 25 years and had played in her department. So only the people that knew her there, right, knew about the great work that she did. But what about all the other people, right? Imagine if she was, sharing her expertise across sectors, across the oil and gas space. Just imagine that when she was now looking for work, she would have a network. She would have thought leadership pieces that she could leverage on. People would know about her. She would even be, while she was even on redundancy, she would have been getting opportunities. But no, she hadn't done all of that. So now she had to start doing that. She had to start rebuilding her network, connecting with people that knew about, had institutional knowledge about the work that she did. She had to start doing all of that, right? When she had 25 years to have built that. So that's the mistake we make when we're not building visibility and we're not taking time to actively communicate the work that we do, not just in our department, but within our office, within our corporate structure, within our sector and cross sectors, right? So this is very important. Building brand use. So that's a mistake. Okay. Hi, Bukola. I see you. Hi, Abi from Yobe. I see you as well. Hi, Judith from Lagos. Welcome. Welcome. So if you have today, what we're discussing, if you're just joining, is visibility mistakes that female leaders make, right? And I'm going to be discussing 5 different visibility mistakes. If you have any questions about using LinkedIn for visibility and thought leadership or around visibility, please put it in the comments and I'll be happy to answer you. Okay, so we talked about not building brand you. The second mistake that female leaders make is this idea of working twice as hard. I think I hear it almost at every conference. Women, as a woman, to make your mark, you need to work twice as hard. Now, I'm not saying that working hard isn't part of it. Of course, you have to be competent. You have to know your onions, yes. But when you're working twice as hard, you don't have time for anything else. You hardly have time for yourself, right? So if you're a female leader, at least 50% of you will be married, will have kids, and that comes with a lot of responsibility. So if you're working twice as hard, you're taking care of your family, taking care of your husband, you've put yourself at the bottom of the pecking order. So that means your visibility and thought leadership brand is just out of it, right? It's not even part of the equation of your priorities, right? So here's a new formula. Instead of working twice as hard, how about we say work hard plus positioning? Because you get to a certain part in your career, It's no longer so much about the work you do, but how you're able to communicate the work you do. So imagine your career when you start out, it's about, building a subject matter expertise in a certain level. But after a while, people want to see your soft skills. They want to know, can you work well in a team? They want to know, can you lead people? They want to know, can you broker relationships? So it's the same thing with as you're advancing in your career, new skills are needed. So people want to know, can you bring in clients? And that requires networking, that requires relationship building, that requires leveraging on your network, that requires negotiation skills, right? That requires stakeholder management, all of those things. If people don't know about the work you do, how are you going to do that? Right? So it's very important that as you are working hard, the new formula is not work hard times 2 or times 4, it's work hard plus positioning. You need to start positioning yourself as someone who can broker great results um, for a particular organization or in a particular sector. So that's the second mistake. So the first mistake, we've said not building brand new. The second mistake is working twice as hard. Now, how do you resolve that mistake about working twice as hard? The thing you need to do here is delegate. You need to delegate. So just like at home, you're building a support structure to help you with your kids, with your home, to run your home, and you're delegating a lot of responsibilities, right? So you're delegating to machines to wash clothes, dishwasher for washing plates and things like that, or to a house help or a nanny. You need to start delegating and empowering people at work to take over some things. I see a lot of women, we make this mistake. Nobody can do it as well as me. Let me just do it myself. You're not helping yourself and you're not empowering the people in your team to be able to do the work. Because as a leader, one of the things that you have to do is succession planning, right? That's one of the hallmarks of a great leader. And the way you do succession planning is empowering those to be able to do the work that you currently do. So delegate. Okay? So that's mistake number 2. Mistake number 3, I'm sure you guessed it, is not networking or building relationships, right? Not networking or leveraging your relationships. So I'll tell you my story. I remember before I launched my practice, I was actually in the climate change environmental management field. So I work for an environmental management company based in Lagos, Nigeria. And although the job was good, it was nice, the money wasn't that bad, I wanted more. I wanted to become a climate change consultant working at the national level. But it seemed like all those jobs were in Abuja. Where I was working was so far away from that opportunity, both physically, mentally, all of that, right? So what did I do? I started to find the people who were doing that work, and I started attending events and conferences that they were attending. And I would go, of course, my company wasn't paying for many of those things. So I would pay for the ones that my company wasn't paying for so I could attend. And I would attend and I would meet people and all of that. And I would start building relationships. And anytime I met somebody, I would tell them about what I did and what opportunities I was looking for. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm looking for a job or I want to become a consultant. I would say, in the last, 10 years at that time, in the last 10 years, I've been working. I have international experience on climate change policy, and now I've been working locally, for a Nigerian company, and I'm looking to now transition to national policy consulting because of my international experience and the work I've done locally. Now that makes sense, right? So I'm showcasing the value. Remember what I said at the beginning, that visibility is the art of letting the right people know your capabilities and your impact. So when you're talking about, you're not like, oh, please, I'm looking for opportunities. No, you're communicating your value and why you are the right person for those kind of opportunities. So I would do that. I kept doing that. And I was then invited for a retreat for young leaders in the green space. And when I got there, I met this guy and I did the same thing, told him what I did, told him about myself. He told me about himself, the stuff that he did, told him about the kind of opportunities I was looking for. And months later, we kept in touch because obviously networking isn't only about asking; it's also about building relationships, building camaraderie, showcasing, helping other people. Keith Ferrazzi says the currency of networking is generosity. So being generous with your network, right? And we kept in touch. And one day he sent me an email that completely changed my life. Basically, he offered me a consulting opportunity, right? And that is how I started consulting at the national level. And I did that for about 2 years before I left to start my practice. So what am I saying here? If you're not building, you see, I didn't, so like in the example, the story I told you earlier about my client who left, relaxed, and then now went and started looking for work. No, I was building the relationships I wanted as I was going along. right? And by the time I started doing consulting, other relationships that I had made before now started to say, oh, you've done this, come and do this, come and do that, come and do this, right? So it's very important that you build your relationships, that you build the right relationships, and that the people that you are adding to your network, they know about the work that you're doing, right? Okay, so we've talked about 3 mistakes and how to fix them. The first mistake is not building brand new, and I said it's important to start actively communicating the great work you do. The second mistake we spoke about was working twice as hard. And I said, let's remove the equation of working hard times 2 and making it working hard plus positioning. And then the third mistake we talked about was not networking or building relationships. And I said, it's time to go out there, build connections, but also leverage your connections by showcasing your value, right? So we've talked about 3 mistakes. So I'm just coming back to the chat here. If you have any questions about visibility, about using LinkedIn, please feel free to put it in, or about anything I'm saying as well, please feel free to put it in the comments and I will answer you. Okay, so mistake number 4, because today we're talking about visibility mistakes female leaders should avoid. Mistake number 4, not building thought leadership content. I think this is such a vital mistake, and I'll tell you why. So I have a friend, her name is Jade, and she was applying for an international opportunity. She, prior to applying for the opportunity, she had worked in the fintech sector for over a decade and actually was an investor in the fintech space. Now, a list came out of top fintech women in her country, and her name wasn't there. Well, you can say, okay, that's fine. Her name wasn't there, but she's a major player, an investor in the sector, but her name wasn't there. Fair enough. Second, and she had also started a company in the sector. Next thing, she was applying for this international opportunity, and they asked her simple questions. They said, oh, do you have anybody that can vouch outside of your work, your office? Do you have anybody that can vouch for your competency? The answer was no. The next question they asked her was, do you attend events as a speaker? The answer was no. The third was like, do you have any thought leadership pieces that can validate your expertise? The answer was no. So bottom line, she had done all this work, but she hadn't built visibility collaterals. She didn't have a network. She hadn't created thought leadership content. She wasn't attending events as a speaker because obviously nobody knew to invite her. Nobody knew that she had expertise, right? Now she's applying for this opportunity. She had to take a break from applying for the opportunity, spend about 3 to 6 months building on that before she then applied for the opportunity. I can't tell you how many times I have women who join my course. Why? Because they're about to fill out a form, and they ask them for their LinkedIn profile. And they know that LinkedIn profile will not get them the opportunity they want. And then they come to me. Why wait until you're about to apply for an opportunity? It is time to build the bridge before you need it. Start creating collaterals that demonstrate your expertise. Start creating articles, media features, press features, going on TV to talk about topical things happening in your sector, so that when it is time to apply, because you never know when these opportunities will knock. It's like somebody that is looking for a job but doesn't have a CV. And then when they now see a job, they're now quickly going to create a CV. That would take time. But if you already have your CV, immediately you're shooting your shots, right? So it's very important that you are ready. You are ready for the opportunities that you want. And building thought leadership content is a great way to do that, right? Another reason why you should be building thought leadership content is that sometimes you might have a great network, but your network is sleeping on your capabilities. They know that, oh, okay, this is what Glory does, but they don't know that you are actually an expert. They might know that, okay, you're a lawyer, you work in so and so firm, but they don't know that, your expertise is off the charts. They don't know that. So what should you do instead? If you're creating thought leadership content, it wakes up your network, because immediately you're like, oh, wow, Gloria, I didn't know you were that articulate. Gloria, I didn't know you could write that way. Oh, Gloria, I didn't know you had worked on X and Y project. So creating thought leadership content wakes up your network. It makes them more aware. There was a time, I remember one time I posted a particular content on LinkedIn, and a friend that I hadn't spoken to in ages sent me a message on WhatsApp. And he was like, oh, there's this international opportunity for women, blah, 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 blah. Would you like to apply? Can you send me some information about the work that you do? And I had immediately I had information to send to him. Immediately I was able to send him that information, but he had already seen Remember what I said? It wakes up your network. So already he had been looking for somebody who could fill that opportunity, right? But he didn't find. He didn't. My name wasn't top of mind. But when he had gone on LinkedIn and then he saw all of a sudden my post came up, he was like, Glory can do this thing now, right? So that's why thought leadership is so important. Last year, one of my goals was to speak at more international forums. And I saw this coach was doing some work for women, and I was like, oh, I should probably pitch myself to speak at his events, at this coach's event, rather her event. So what I did was I sent her an email and I just said, hello, this is what I do, blah blah blah. You can see more about my work here. So at this point, I knew that if they go on my LinkedIn profile, or they go here, or they go here, or they Google me, they will be able to see collaterals that demonstrate my expertise, right? And of course, when I sent the email, they were like, oh my God, this is really great. We are full up this year, but the following year, we would love to have you on. Since then, I've gone on their platform. The person also signed up to be a client of mine. You see? But because I had been building the bridge, I had been building my thought leadership content. So I didn't have to speak too much grammar to convince, right? The evidence was already there, right? So please, 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 especially if you're looking for speaking engagements, you're looking for consulting opportunities, thought leadership content is a way to go. Devote time to creating that. Okay, so it's a way to position yourself. So we've talked about 4 mistakes now. We're coming to the 5th mistake, and who can guess what the 5th mistake is? Oh, most I see what you said. Excuse me. Point 4 is the most important for me. Building thought leadership content. Amazing. The final mistake is not using LinkedIn. Oh, goodness. I think LinkedIn is one of the most efficient ways right now. And I'm not paid by LinkedIn. I'm not a staff of LinkedIn. But just because of the results I have seen and the results I've helped my clients have also achieved on LinkedIn, I think it's a great, inexpensive way of building thought leadership. Why? LinkedIn is a global platform. A high percentage of the people on LinkedIn, right, are executives, are decision makers, are able to make business decisions, right? So if they see you are a thought leader and they're looking for somebody who has expertise in your area of expertise, and you showcase that you have expertise in that, more than likely they may call you for an opportunity if an opportunity does exist, right? So LinkedIn is such an inexpensive way to grow thought leadership. It's like having your own personal blog without having to pay for a website, without having to go and get a domain name, without having to, get all these fancy designs and all of that. Everything is set up for you to facilitate conversation around important issues in your sector. And it's great for networking, right? Because imagine, so you're doing infrastructure development in Africa. You have people that are doing infrastructure development in Europe, in North America, in Australia, right? In Asia. You have all of this. You need to be leveraging on that global network to build global conversations. LinkedIn does it for you. Other platforms, you kind of have to go, maybe even pay for ads to find these people. But now, starting conversations, you can start conversations on LinkedIn. You can find people across the world. The LinkedIn search engine is such a powerful thing, right? You can find experts across the world and connect with them and share insights about what is happening on your continent or in your country, right? So why is LinkedIn important? Just to summarize, it can be your personal blog. And if you notice, actually, if you Google your name, if you Google most people, most professionals, one of the first things that comes up for most people, at least in the first page of Google, is their LinkedIn page, right? So anybody that is Googling you now is seeing your LinkedIn page. So why are you not leveraging on that to build visibility? It's such an inexpensive way to do that, okay? So with LinkedIn, you can create a profile that showcases your expertise, right? You can communicate your expertise on your LinkedIn profile. You can build an amazing network, even whether you're a professional or you're a business owner. You can build an amazing network of clients, of colleagues, of international connections, an amazing, powerful global network. You can do that on LinkedIn. You can also create thought leadership content for free, right? You don't need to go and get your own personal blog. If you want a personal blog, you can do that. A lot of people do that. That's fine. But if you're not ready for that expense, you can start now using LinkedIn. LinkedIn is amazing that way. So we've discussed 5 mistakes. I can't believe I've been talking for 30 minutes straight, almost. Right. We've discussed 5 mistakes. The first mistake is not developing brand you, right? And I said that is important because you are a brand, just like any other brand that you buy on the shelf, whether it is whether it's GTB, I'm using Nigerian brands now, whether it's GTB, Fidelity Bank, whatever, MTN, you are a brand, right? And in the same way, those brands take specific care in communicating to their audience, you should be doing the same, right? Personal branding is the art. Personal branding is the intentional, right? Is the intentional way of communicating your expertise, knowledge, and values and capabilities to the right people. So building brand you. The second one, the second mistake female leaders make when it comes to visibility is working twice as hard. I get it. We need to work hard to get ahead because there are so many roadblocks against us. However, let's try a new equation of work hard plus positioning, right? Because when you start to position yourself, you get the opportunities, access to the opportunities you desire. Three, not networking, right? Not building, not networking, and not leveraging your relationships. People are the ones that have access to opportunities, right? It's people that sign the checks, it's people that interview you, it's people that call you, it's people that let you know about when there's information. So you need to be building the right network. The fourth mistake is not sharing thought leadership content. And we said thought leadership content awakens your network. It creates speaking opportunities, paid consulting opportunities, and the like. And it's just an amazing way of showcasing your thought leadership. Fifth mistake is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an inexpensive way of developing your thought leadership brand. So those are the 5 mistakes female leaders should definitely avoid when building visibility in 2022. Okay, so I've been talking for 30 minutes plus straight. If there are there any questions? Any questions? Let's just see if there are any questions. Okay, I see Austin. Austin says, interesting. Thank you, Austin. Timmy Tokwe, thanks from Lagos. Thanks for joining. If you're just joining in, don't worry. This is being recorded, so you can watch it. But please just tell me your name and where you're joining in from, and if you have any questions. So my name, in case you're just joining, you're just watching me for the first time, my name is Dr. Gloria Dozian. I'm a LinkedIn visibility and thought leadership branding expert for female executives, right? And what I do is I help female executives in Africa show up powerfully and build visible thought leadership brands on and off LinkedIn. So that's what I do. If you have any questions on visibility using LinkedIn, please feel free. I'm going to be closing in about 2 minutes. Feel free to ask a question. Happy to answer any questions you may have. But before I round up, I also want to let you know that I also run a course. The course is the LinkedIn Visibility and Content Strategy Program. And what we do on the course is 3 simple things. The first thing is teach you how to get clarity on your brand and communicate your brand. And as part of that, we also give you a free LinkedIn makeover. The second thing that we do, is teach you how to build a powerful network on LinkedIn. So how to actually develop your own personalized networking strategy for LinkedIn. A lot of people are always confused. They're like, look, I don't know who I should be networking on LinkedIn. I just accept every request, or I just decline every request, whatever the case is, So they are not sure about how to go about it. I show you how to do that and for yourself, right? Based on the goals you want to achieve. And then the final one, content. How do you create thought leadership content, right? I show you my own content strategy. Sometimes, some weeks, I post up to 3 to 4 times on LinkedIn. And I post on Instagram as well. I have a LinkedIn newsletter. I have a community newsletter. I'm constantly creating content. And I show you how to create your own personalized content. So I think my colleague should be in the chat. Please, can you just share links to the course in case anybody wants information on how to sign up for the course? If you are interested in the course as well, and you would like to speak to me about it, she will also share a link to book a 20-minute complimentary call with me. However, I should say that the call is only for people who are interested in the course. If you don't have the time now, or you don't have the resources to devote to taking the course, that's fine. When you do, you can always come back, but please don't book the call unless you are ready for that. Okay, if you're not able to get the link, you can send me a DM and I'll send you the links. All right, so I see we have some questions. Okay, hi, Toyin from Port Harcourt. Thanks for joining, Toyin. Oh, hello, Grace. Grace says, thank you, Gloria. These are powerful points. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Toyin. I see we have Amenze. Okay, Amenze says, how do you promote your personal interests, project, side hustle when it may be in the same sector as your 9 to 5? Thank you, Amenze. That's a great question. So here's the thing, right? If there are, so let's say, for example, where you work, right? You work for a company that does things for small businesses, right? And you also consult for small businesses at the side. If there is a direct conflict of interest, where you could get in trouble because you're offering the same services on the side as your company, right? Now, I would advise that you don't do that, because obviously that's a direct conflict of interest and you could get into serious trouble, right? But however, if it is a case where your company deals with maybe customer services for small businesses, and you do something around, let's say, procurement or something that is completely unrelated, right? And you're on LinkedIn because you want to share about that, you can, right? So the idea here is that you create content that is relevant for the people you want to attract. So you have to say to yourself, okay, who do I want to attract? What are their problems? And then create content that helps them to solve those problems. Hope that answers your question, Amanda. Okay. Judith says, I don't know how to start my personal branding. Okay, so Judith, for somebody like yourself, the first thing I would say is think about, what do I want to be known for? Right? This is a very important question when it comes to personal branding. What do I want to be known for? What are my key specialities? What is my differentiating unique factor? As in, what is it that I do? What is my unique perspective? So let's say, you do customer service for SMEs or something, right? What is my unique perspective in how SMEs should offer customer services, right? Or offer services to their customers rather, right? So think about, what is my differentiating factor? What is it that I do uniquely well, right? And what do I want to be known for? And then, so that's the first step. The next step you should look at is, who is already doing this, right? What are they doing differently, right? So maybe are they on LinkedIn? Do they have a blog? Do they have a YouTube channel? So look at the vehicle that they are using to build their thought leadership brand, right? Their personal brand. And then another thing that is very important, especially for women, is think about what makes you the right person to talk about this, right? And the reason why I always ask people to do this is because many times we have professional amnesia, and it's important that we start to own our own accomplishments. So think, because many times when you want to start sharing content, you will start to doubt yourself. Oh, maybe I shouldn't do this yet. Maybe I need to go and do more training. So get clear on why you are great at what you do, right? And then share content around those areas. So hopefully, I mean, there are other steps. Make sure you're building a great network. Go where the people who are relevant to, who should know about that brand, go to, right? So if you find out that the people that should know about your brand are on LinkedIn, make sure you're on LinkedIn. If you find out they're on TikTok, make sure you're on TikTok, right? So those are just a few ways you can start to build your personal brand. Hope that helps. Okay, hi Wyla from Lagos. Nice to see you. Okay. Nkechuku says, how do you influence the searches that show your name on LinkedIn? Excellent question. So, for example, it's all with LinkedIn is all about skills, right? Are you putting the right skills in your profile? Are you optimizing your profile in the right way so that when people search for certain skills, you come up? So for example, for me, I know that if people are looking for someone like myself, they probably look for visibility, personal branding, um they'll look for coach, LinkedIn tips, things like that. So I make sure that those keywords are on my profile. So what are the keywords that people will look for when they're looking for you? Make sure that those keywords are included in key places on your profile. So around, in your bio, your about section, your LinkedIn headline, your skills area. So just make sure you're optimizing your LinkedIn profile with the right skills that people will search for when they're looking for somebody with your skills. Okay, I hope, in Kichuko, I hope that was clear. Okay, I don't have any more questions. I see that. Do I have any more questions? I'm going to be wrapping up in a minute. I'm going to be wrapping up in a minute. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for joining today. I had fun. This is the first time I've come alone on LinkedIn. Usually I have a guest. So please always look out for, it's a weekly show, the Visibility Lunch Hour show. It's a weekly show every Friday at noon. And the next time you see me on here, I'll definitely have a guest, and I'll be introducing the guest during the week. So make sure you follow me on my LinkedIn page, Glory Edozian, to get more information. And also on my YouTube channel at Inspired by Glory. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get information on when the next show is coming up, the next edition of the show is coming up. Just to summarize, my name is Dr. Glory Edozian, and I am a LinkedIn visibility and thought leadership brand expert for female executives. What I do is I help female executives in Africa show up powerfully and build visible thought leadership brands on and off LinkedIn, right? Okay. If you have any questions after this, please just put them in the comments. I'll be checking on the comments to answer questions. Don't forget as well, I have my LinkedIn visibility and content strategy course, and you can register for that course. If you have any information, you can find out information from the links that Oluwapelumi Falana has put in the chat. Just click on that to get more information. If you would like to speak to me regarding the details of the course, you can also book a complimentary 20-minute call with me to find out more about the course. But please only book the call if you are ready to financially invest and have the time to take the course, right? The complimentary calls go really quickly. So I prefer for people who are really ready and just want a bit more information and clarity to see if it will be great for us to work together. To take the call. During the call, I don't do any coaching. So if you are hoping to ask me questions about how to get your LinkedIn done over the call, I don't take calls during the coaching. During the call, I don't take coaching. I don't do coaching during the call. Is what I should say. All right. Okay. If there are no more questions, thanks, Timitokwe. Thank you. So Timitokwe says, thank you, Dr. Glory. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, I think I have another question. How do you manage a group when you have a sabotage in the midst of the team that report wrong information about the leader just to be recognized? Okay, so it sounds like this is a conflict issue. There probably is a lot more to this. I'm not an expert in conflict resolution. So I don't know that I'm the right person to speak about this or to answer this, and I probably will need a bit more context. So unfortunately, I'm not able to answer this. I think there are a lot of people that talk about conflict resolution at work. If you just search conflict resolution, and you probably find a few people that can help. But off the top of my head, I would say maybe you want to speak to the person or build your own visibility, build your own personal brand so that you make sure that you're networking correctly with that leader and you can pass the right information to them. Okay? Hope that helps. All right. It's been great. We've been here for over 30 minutes. It's been great. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something. And I'll see you next week. Bye now.